Good afternoon once again. Welcome to the third video, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, not the internet. I made a bit of a mistake in the previous video, but um, things that happen and ultimately we meet on the internet anyway. So I have to speak very quickly and make my points very fast today because I have a lot to get through. So in this video, I am going to be speaking about one of perhaps the best weeks for me of 2024 because it was the Malta Book Festival of 2024, and I had such a blast meeting authors from all around the world. I even got some opportunities to do great things. I did miss out on Comic Con, however, but um, I'm going to be showing you once again what I bought from the Malta Book Festival overall. A comic I bought anyway because I know one of the creators of the comics, so I managed to get a copy anyway. And I'll be speaking a bit about what I brought up in my previous video about Roald Dahl's short story, The Great Automatic Grammatizator. So yeah, I have a lot to get through. So primarily, um, it was one of the best weeks because I got the opportunity to read 2 pages from the Maltese version of The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. It's called Il Problema Atlet Corpi, and it was translated by John A. Bonello. I had the pleasure of meeting the author, and he even signed the book for me. I'm pretty sure I showed you this in my day one, but this is a bit of a recap. And I very recently continued reading the first book in the trilogy as well, and it is quite challenging to follow, but it's very interesting regardless, and I'm filled with suspense. Next, I also had the opportunity to attend two, let's call them conferences, more of a talk and an interview by Anthony Horowitz. The interview was conducted by a professor of mine at university called Professor James Corby. It was a brilliant interview, and I even got him to sign two of my books. I bought his most recent book, by the way, Close to Death, and I started reading it, even though it's the fifth book in the series. And I've already read about 150 pages from the book, and he signed it in this manner. He signed it to Andrew, all the best. Then we have the author's signature, Anthony Horowitz. It was a pleasure meeting the guy. I even told him about the Book Nerd 822 channel, and he signed Stormbreaker for me. This one I've had for a very long time now, but he signed this one. He dedicated the signature to Book Nerds 0802. A bit of a misspelling there, but I'm still very glad to have met him. Best wishes, and the date 9/11/2024. 9th of November for all you Americans watching. It was very cool to tell him about the channel, but I think he was exhausted. He wasn't all there. He couldn't really look into the channel, or perhaps he just doesn't care. But I do look forward to finishing Close to Death. It shouldn't take me too long, and I'll be reviewing that one on my channel as well, of course. And during the interview, he mentioned that this is one of the best detective stories, in his opinion. The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side by Agatha Christie. And I even took a note about why he said so, because I didn't want to forget and I want to see what exactly he has in mind. So he mentioned that um, there's the best motif, according to Horowitz, you can find in this book and in any book, because it's so obvious and yet no reader will immediately manage to identify it, apparently. But I look forward to reading that as well. And luckily, my dad had it in his collection already, so I didn't have to buy anything. Then, as I mentioned already, I bought The Wild Robot Escapes and Wild Robot Protects by Peter Brown. I am soon going to watch the movie for The Wild Robot and make a review about that as well so that I can continue with the books. I read the first book a couple of years ago. I'm not really in the mood to read it all over again. I'd rather watch the movie, but I will probably flick through it just to get the general idea. I do remember quite a lot about it anyway. Next, we have Beyond the Sea by Paul Lynch. This one I read and reviewed on the channel already. I didn't care much for the interview, and that is why I didn't stay until the very end, so I didn't get this one signed, unfortunately. But it was an okay read overall. Make sure to take a look at the video I made about it. Then I also bought a copy of Hot Mess by Diary by Jeff Kinney, the 19th book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. And in the meantime, my final book, the final book in my Waterstones order, arrived. So I now have two copies of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Volume 19 book, and they're identical. There aren't any differences between the two. But I was too excited to read it anyway, and it turned out to be a good idea because I got 300 views on the video. Make sure to check it out as well if you haven't already. So, next, I also got another comic this week. So, if you've been following the channel for a very long time, you will know that last year rather, I went to Comic Con, right, 2023, where I met Raymond Cruz as well, the Tuco Salamanca character from Breaking Bad. And I bought these two comics, Energy Quest Volume 1 and Energy Quest Volume 2. They are both by Peter Magro, and I am lucky enough to know this guy. I feel as though he's improved quite a lot. I haven't yet read the third volume, but I just received this one yesterday, and it looks absolutely amazing. I'll be reading this one very, very soon, and letting you know what I think about it as well. But I am lucky enough to know the author slash illustrator Peter Magro, and he even signed my comic. To Andrew, thank you for the support. Hope you enjoy the comic. And it's always such a pleasure to get a book signed by the author and the illustrator. And it's a feeling which I can't really explain, but it will help me move on to my next point, basically. So, in the story I just finished reading, basically, Roald Dahl's The Great Automatic Grammatizator, even though they made a lot of money, consequences don't seem to form part of the equation. But in reality, there are many consequences which will occur down the line that Roald Dahl doesn't seem to mention, maybe because it's a short story, but I'm pretty sure he could have made this into a full-fledged novel. It would have been so interesting to see. I feel as though it's extremely harmful to humanity, and naive people might not understand why, to invent a machine which will write novels and short stories better than any human ever could. Um, Naive people might not understand why if they don't particularly care about literature. So, the main character of the story, Nipe, I do still think that he's a genius for inventing such a machine, but at the same time, one has to question the cost. I mean, one can't argue that the nuclear bomb, for instance, was also a brilliant invention. But what are the consequences? What are its uses, its purposes? What will it actually do? Will it cause more harm than help? Um, Same thing can be said with nuclear energy, for instance, or other such inventions which um, are brilliant, but they're so harmful to society. And this week, having had the opportunity to meet authors like Lynch and Horowitz, for example, I didn't get the opportunity to take a picture with Horowitz. I didn't want to take up too much of his time, and I kind of forgot to ask him for a picture. But meeting with such authors, right, they certainly helped me to restore some faith in the value of literature, right? So, even though the authors in the story, they sign a contract where they can't write anything else, but their names are still used for the books, and they're still paid annually, right? And they still know what's going on in the books. They might not be doing any of the work themselves, and the machine does things better than the humans. But meeting with such intelligent people, especially Horowitz, right? A great mind like Horowitz is, I have no doubt that he had a massive role in his book's creation. So when I listened to him speak about what he had in mind, the doubt that anything else might have written his story kind of faded away because he's so knowledgeable about what is going on that the thought of any AI actually having written the book just immediately exited the corridors of my mind. And he did mention that he writes using pen and paper rather than types anything because he loves the feel of paper. And I found that to be extremely interesting. So I also thought it would be interesting to question what I would do in a similar situation. For instance, if I became a very popular author and got the opportunity to get paid loads of money every year, have an artificial intelligence write a book better than I ever could, but still get paid and still have my name on the book, would I accept that idea? Or would I not? I probably wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. I value the imagination and creativity way too much, and I associate them quite a lot with the human soul and with the values a person has and what makes a person a person. So I wouldn't want to sell that away. I feel as though that would cheapen everything I've been striving towards and all I've done so far in my life. So I don't think I would take anyone up on that offer. And I do still think that readers and critics are the most important things out there, but once AI learns to criticize itself and better itself every single day, that will probably be the downfall of anything and everything humanity ever was or could be, which is absolutely frightening, as I mentioned in the previous video. But those were all the books I bought during the Malta Book Festival of 2024. Um, and a book I received afterwards as well, one of them from Waterstones. And yeah, I mean, make sure to take a look at the day one. I'm very happy to have made a recap of this, just to show you how many books I bought. I didn't even buy as many as I anticipated I would. I definitely thought I would buy many, many more this year, but I just didn't. And I spent much less money than I thought I would. But anyway, that's all I had to say for this video. Thank you for watching all of the 3 videos I made today. Make sure to check out some of the shorts as well. Maybe take a look at the live streams. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this one. Check out the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, guys.